Hello guys, in the last class I told you that we'll be starting with the aromaticity. We will be learning about aromatics, anti-aromatics and non-aromatic compounds. So let's begin with aromaticity today. What exactly is aromaticity? So here aromaticity is a phenomena which is shown by the compounds, and basically these are some properties represented by certain compounds. When all the required properties are present in a compound, the required or the listed properties over here are present in the compound, they make a compound aromatic. So what all these properties, conditions which any compound if fulfill called an aromatic compound, let's figure out. So first is compound must be cyclic and planar. So basically any straight chain compound cannot be aromatic. It has to be cyclic, and even when it is cyclic it has to be planar. So planar and cyclic, this should be a compound. Secondly, next condition is each member of the ring must be sp2 or sp, because you can get the planarity only with the sp2 or sp, or combination it cannot be with sp3. So sp3 structures will be out of the plane, right? So every member of the ring, no matter it is carbon, it is nitrogen, it is anything, any atom, it must be sp2 or sp or the combination of both to become aromatic. And there should be a closed conjugation. Closed conjugation means, we have learned what exactly is conjugation. It is the alternate bonds or alternate pi electrons, which basically are the real cause for resonance. So that is called as closed conjugation. That means in the ring or in the system, the conjugation should be complete. It should not be for the half of the ring and half of the ring is not showing conjugation. That should not be happening. Basically, if I'm talking about any cyclic chain, let's say I have drawn this. I'm talking about benzene over here. So here you can see this is the closed conjugation. That means you have double bond, alternate single bond, alternate double bond, alternate single bond, alternate double bond, single bond. So basically here the conjugation is in the complete molecule. It's not in the half of the ring. So this is called as closed conjugation. Then third important condition is that you should have 4n plus 2 pi electrons. This presence of 4n plus 2 pi electrons is also called as Huckel rule, where n starts from 0, can vary till any number. So basically n can be any number, any whole number. Okay, and the minimum number of electrons what are required, pi electrons which are required for a compound to be aromatic, are 2 pi electrons, because in that case 4n plus 2 pi electrons. So if I'll put n is equal to 0, then the number of pi electrons are gonna be 0 plus 2 pi electrons. So basically 2 pi electrons, right? So this is Huckel's rule. Starting from 2 pi electrons, you can have anything in variation or anything in number to this general formula, 4n plus 2 pi electrons. This is called as Huckel's rule. As I mentioned earlier also, open chain will never be aromatic. So it is a mandatory condition that the compound should be cyclic and planar. Okay, for aromatic we can have any number, 2 pi electron, 6 pi electron, 10 pi electron, 14 pi electron. So basically it should just follow 4n plus 2 pi electrons rule. Now we have understood the aromaticity, and now let's understand what is anti-aromatic compounds. Anti-aromatic compounds, these are also very important compounds. We are going to talk about them. These are extra unstable. So basically their property is, aromatic compounds are extra stable. They have that stability due to the closed conjugation. So all the pi electrons are in conjugation showing resonance, and that's why they have extra stability. Here your molecule is extra unstable. So basically it is highly unstable molecule. The condition is it should be cyclic, it should be planar. So planar and cyclic, the same conditions which are required for a compound to be aromatic, the same set of conditions are also required to be anti-aromatic also. Then again there must be conjugation. The electrons must be in the conjugated form, or in fact it is closed conjugation. Okay, so basically if you talk about the conditions, these three conditions are same as aromatic condition. Then what it is which is making it extra unstable, that is the number of pi electrons present in the molecule. So here when we talk about the aromatic compounds, the number of electrons what are required are 4n plus 2 pi electrons. So this is your general formula for the electrons present in a molecule to be aromatic. But if you're talking about anti-aromatic, the number of electrons which will make the compound anti-aromatic is 4n pi electrons. So basically when you start from n is equal to 1, It will be 4 electrons, 8 electrons, 12, 16. So basically, the multiple of 4, if there are pi electrons, that means the compound is anti-aromatic. Now let's go into details of the aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds can be of two types. One is benzenoid compounds and another is non-benzenoid. Though we have spoken about this category when we had in the beginning of the organic, we had spoken about the classification of organic compounds. At that time also we had discussed about what are benzenoids and non-benzenoid compounds. So as the name suggests, benzenoid are the compounds which must have at least one benzene ring. So basically their basic composition is made up of benzene. Whereas when you talk about the non-benzenoid compound, non-benzenoid compounds do not contain benzene, no benzene at all, but they will have conjugation, the closed conjugation, all other conditions what are required for a compound to be aromatic. So it is not necessary that aromatic compound should have benzene, but it should have all the three conditions we have discussed. One is cyclic and planar. Then we have spoken about the closed conjugation and 4n plus 2 pi electrons. So these are the important conditions which any compound should fulfill and it will be aromatic compound. So the cycle can be benzene, the cycle can be non-benzene structure also. So let's quickly see the benzenoid examples. The first example what we'll talk but the benzenoid, we have already seen these examples earlier also, so I've just listed down few. So first is naphthalene, where you can see two benzene structures are connected to each other and there is a closed conjugation. So every double bond is in conjugation with the other double bond. So look at this. This is in conjugation with this and this and this and this. So all these double bonds are in closed conjugation and resonance will happen in the whole series or whole, you can say, molecule, and these are made up of benzene. So this is naphthalene. This compound is called as naphthalene. This, where three benzenes are connected, is called as anthracene, and again double bonds are in closed conjugation. So in the whole compound you can see the conjugation happening, not only in the part of a compound. Next is phenanthrene. Again, phenanthrene is similar to anthracene, only the arrangement of the third benzene is a little different. It's not connected sideways, it is connected a little vertically up, and this is called as phenanthrene. Right, now we will see whether they actually follow 4n plus 2 pi condition or not. So here all the for all the carbons, when you talk about here, they are all sp2 hybridized and hence they are gonna be planar, no matter you talk about naphthalene, anthracene or phenanthrene. So this molecule is cyclic, these molecules are cyclic and planar, they have closed conjugation, we have checked this, and now let's see whether the pi electrons fulfill the condition of aromaticity or not. So here we have how many pi electrons? So here we have 1 2 3 4 5 5 pi bonds, so basically 10 pi electrons. Does 10 pi electrons fulfill the condition of 4n plus 2 pi? Let's see. If 4 into 2 plus 2 pi electrons, so yes, if n is equal to 2, then 10 pi electrons will be the thing. So yes, it is following the general formula. Exactly same way, I have 3 plus 2 plus 2, so basically 7 pi bonds. So 14 pi electrons. Does it follow the 4n plus 2 pi rule? Yes, it does. How? Let's see. So if I take 4 into 3 plus 2, so basically when n is equal to 3, then it will fulfill the, then it will be 14 pi electrons which follow this 4n plus 2 pi rule where n is equal to 3. Exactly same case will be here. So again 14 pi electrons, and this follows the 4n plus 2 pi rule. Now let's quickly talk about some non-benzenoid compounds where there is aromaticity but no benzene, right? So here first molecule or first compound which I have taken is cyclopropenyl cation. This compound is called as cyclopropenyl cation. The cyclo is for cyclic chain, propenyl because there is a double bond, and cation because there is a plus charge over here. Does this follow all the rules of aromaticity? Let's figure out. This is sp2 carbon. This is sp2 carbon. And in fact this carbocation is also sp2 hybridized. So yes, all the three are sp2, so it is planar molecule. It has 1 pi electron, so basically 1 pi bond, so basically 2 pi electrons. If there are 2 pi electrons, then it follows the 4n plus 2 pi rule where n is equal to 0. Is it in conjugation with something? Yes, it is in conjugation with plus charge. So when I told you, when I had spoken about different type of conjugations, I told you conjugation happens between pi electrons and plus charge also. So this is one of that condition. So when that will happen, what exactly is going to happen is resonance will happen throughout in the ring and the molecule will be something like this. Now let's see, let me draw it nicely. So this is my cyclic ring, and how the resonance will take place. This is the initial molecule. Now how the change will happen. This plus charge will, let's say, this pi bond will move over here. This plus charge will try to form a pi bond here. So basically this pi bond will move over here or break down heterolytically to create the negative charges on this carbon, and the resultant molecule will be this, right? I can again transfer the pi electrons to the next carbon and can shift the pi bond. So basically pi bond is shifting, and this will be this and this. So I've got three structures. One is this, another is this, and third one is this, where every particular carbon which is involved in this resonance is carrying a positive charge. So basically when you will talk about the resonance hybrid, it will have partial positive charges in all three carbons, and those partial positive charges will be 1/3 of the charge. So basically I can write as plus 1 by 3, plus 1 by 3, and plus 1 by 3 charge on each carbon. And the double bond is also rotating inside the molecule. Sometimes we can also write it as this, and this circle, and the positive charge inside. This positive charge inside represents that the positive charge is being distributed among all the carbons which are present in the molecule, and that plus charge is going to every single carbon. So this rotation, or this dot 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 circle, shows the double bond is basically moving in and getting shared by all the carbons as well as the plus charge. So that's how we represent it. So aromatic it is because of the 2 pi electrons present here. Now again another molecule, this double bond is in conjugation with this plus charge, and this double bond is in conjugation with this plus charge also. So yes, there is close conjugation. When we will do resonance, what will happen? These plus charges will actually move on each and every carbon, and the double bond will also rotate in the molecule, and hence I represent it as dot 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 and 2 plus charges. 2 plus charges because both of these plus charges are getting distributed in all the carbons. This is called as cyclobutynyl dication. And is it aromatic? Yes. 2 pi electrons it has. Every particular carbon is sp2, and there is a close conjugation. So this will make it aromatic compound. Look at the next one. This one, what it is, you have a double bond and a negative charges over here. These negative charges are basically free electrons, or you can say pi electrons, which are present in the unhybridized p orbital. So hybridization is not changing here. This is also sp2, this is also sp2, this is sp2, and this is sp2. Okay, so all of these are all of the carbons are in the same plane. This is called as cyclobutynyl dianion. Are they in the closed conjugation? Yes, double bond is in conjugation with this negative charge also, and double bond is in conjugation with this negative charge also. Double bond will get distributed among all the carbons, as well as the negative charges will get distributed among all the carbons. Is it following the Huckel's rule? Yes, 2 electrons here, 2 pi electrons here, 2 pi electrons due to this negative charge, and 2 pi electrons due to the double bond. So total 6 pi electrons are present, and hence it follows the Huckel's rule. Now look at this. You have double bond, and a negative charge. This negative charge is nothing else but 2 pi electrons. So basically 6 pi electrons we have. This is called a cyclopentadienyl anion. When you will draw the resonance structures, you will see that the double bond is also getting distributed among all the carbons, and the negative charge is also getting distributed among all the carbons. This molecule will be aromatic. Now again, this is sp2, 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 and the last carbon is also sp2. And how many electrons are present? How many pi electrons are present? There are 6 pi electrons present. Closed conjugation in the molecule, planar molecule, and hence this will be aromatic. This compound is called as tropylium ion. Okay, so this is about few non-benzonide compounds. Let's see some more examples. Now let's look at the next example. Next example is also similar, where we have no benzene. It's a closed cyclic structure where we have 3 double bonds and then 2 positive charges. Everything is in conjugation with each other, and every particular carbon is sp2 hybridized. It is cyclic, planar, closed conjugation. And if we talk about the number of pi electrons, 6 pi electrons in total, making the whole compound aromatic. Exactly same way, look at the 7th compound. In 7th compound we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 pairs of pi electrons. So basically 10 pi electrons, closed conjugation, cyclic and planar, and this compound is aromatic. So all of these are the examples where we have no benzene, but still the molecule is aromatic because of all the three conditions it is fulfilling, that is cyclic, planar, and closed conjugation. Now we can have the aromatic compounds which are heterocyclic also. We have seen the compounds which are all made up of carbon till now. We have not seen the compound where we have any other member or any other element is present, that is any other element apart from carbon. So here now we will list down some examples where the molecules have the atoms apart from carbon also, and how those compounds are aromatic. So look at the first compound here. We have a benzene kind of structure where one carbon has been replaced by nitrogen. So look at this. Now we have one pi bond here, one pi bond here, one pi bond here. So 3 pi bonds we have, and one lone pair with nitrogen. But mind it, this lone pair and this pi bond are not in conjugation with each other, and hence the pair of electron is not gonna participate in resonance, and hence this will be called as localized lone pair. I had told you what all are the conditions for conjugation. Your double bond must be in conjugation with the lone pair to do the resonance, but here there is no conjugation there. The double bond is directly attached to the atom having a lone pair, so this lone pair is not going to participate in the resonance, and hence we are not going to count it as pi electron. So we have only 6 pi electrons which we have got from 3 pi bonds. So this lone pair of electron will be called as localized lone pair electron. But when you talk about the nitrogen over here, this is still sp2 hybridized. Why? Because nitrogen has 3 bonds like this, and these are in the sp2 hybridized state, whereas the pair of electron which nitrogen has is an unhybridized p orbital. So that is the reason this nitrogen is not sp3, this nitrogen is sp2. So this makes this molecule aromatic. So it is planar also, it has 6 pi electrons also, and closed conjugation also, and this makes this molecule aromatic. Now look at the next compound. Next compound, we have double bond, a single bond, double bond, single bond, and pair of electrons. So now this pair of electron is in the alternate position with respect to the double bond. So this is the part of conjugation, and hence it will participate in the resonance. Right? So this lone pair is not a localized lone pair, this is a delocalized lone pair. What is delocalized lone pair? Delocalized lone pair is the lone pair which will participate in resonance. Now when it will participate in the resonance, I want to find out the hybridization. So hybridization of this nitrogen is automatically sp2 hybridization. Everything is sp2. So here it is making 1, 2, and 3 bonds, and this p orbital, this lone pair is an empty p orbital. sp2 hybridized your nitrogen is, all the carbons are sp2 hybridized, and total number of pi electrons are 6 pi electrons, 4 due to the pi bonds and 1 due to this lone pair. 6 pi electrons make this molecule aromatic. I hope you have understood how the first one's lone pair is localized, whereas the other one's lone pair is delocalized one, and how both of these compounds are aromatic. Let's see a few more examples. Now here there is an important thing. Pyridine is more basic than pyrrole. So what exactly is pyridine? Let's go back to the old slide and see. The first compound which we had spoken about, where it was a benzene kind of structure where one carbon was replaced by nitrogen, this molecule is called as pyridine. Whereas the cyclopentanediol sort of structure where one carbon has been replaced by nitrogen, this compound is called as pyrrole. So you need to know these common names, and you should be able to identify what they are exactly talking about. So when they'll write pyrrole, you should get this molecule in your mind. They may not give you the structure, but just the name. Now they are saying that the pyridine is more basic than the pyrrole. What basically decides the basicity of a molecule? Basicity means easy availability of lone pair. Why lone pair decides the basicity? Because lone pair is the one which will be able to attract the H plus ion. So more easily available your lone pair is to make the bond with H plus, more basic your molecule is gonna be. When I say the lone pair in the pyridine is localized, that means that lone pair is attached to the nitrogen always and will be available whenever it is required to make a bond with H plus. Whereas when you talk about the pyrrole, though it looks like the nitrogen has the pair of electron, but it will participate in the conjugation, it will participate in the resonance, and will go and shift to the carbons. So the availability of this lone pair is very limited. It is not with nitrogen all the time, and hence the availability of this lone pair is lesser as compared to the previous case, and that's the reason why your pyridine is more basic than pyrrole. This is a very, very important point. Very, very important. More your lone pair will be with the nitrogen or the electronegative element. It will remain with it. It will be easier for that lone pair to go and react with H plus or attach with H plus or do the bonding with H plus. More it is traveling in the molecule, lesser availability of that lone pair is, and hence it will not be able to effectively attract H plus toward itself and make a bond, which is an important property of a basic compound. So here, look at the third compound. Third compound is what? Again, cyclopentadienyl kind of structure, where instead of nitrogen, now we have oxygen over here. So now look at this molecule very, very carefully. What exactly is there? We have this kind of structure where we have oxygen, we have alternate double bonds, and then these double bonds are on the alternate position with respect to the lone pairs also. But as we have already discussed in very much detail about the conjugation, when you're talking about the lone pairs, only one lone pair can be in the parallel p orbital with respect to the double bonds, not all. So one lone pair will be in the parallel p orbital, whereas another lone pair will be in the different plane p orbital, and hence only one will be capable of showing the conjugation, another will not be. So even though it has two lone pairs, one will be localized and will always remain with oxygen, whereas one lone pair will participate in the resonance and will roam around in the molecule, causing the resonance, causing the conjugation. So all these atoms are sp2 hybridized, one lone pair is localized and one lone pair is delocalized. So how many total pair of electrons we have, pi electrons we have which will participate in the resonance? 2 here due to this bond, 2 here, and 2 this delocalized lone pair. So total 6 pi electrons which are participating in the resonance. We are not going to count the localized lone pair. These are of no use. We are basically trying to check the conjugation, the electrons which are in closed conjugation to do the resonance, and only those electrons will be considered for the Huckel's rule. So that this all you have to understand. This molecule is called as furan. So it is fulfilling all the three conditions which are required for a compound to be aromatic, and hence this compound is aromatic. Exactly similar structure is with the next compound, where instead of oxygen we have sulfur. Again, sulfur has two pair of electrons. One will be delocalized one and another will be localized one. Hence total number of pi electrons will be 6 pi electrons and the compound will be aromatic. So in this fifth example, let's see what exactly it is. So here we have double bond in alternate position with respect to pi electron. This double bond also in the alternate you can say position with respect to the pi electron, and hence all the pi electrons are in conjugation with each other. So closed conjugation is there. Yes, it is there. Okay, so this pair of electron is going to be a delocalized pair of electrons. So obviously the conjugation will happen throughout in the molecule. This is very much required condition. Second, we have to see whether the molecule is planar or not. This nitrogen is sp2, this carbon is sp2, this carbon is sp2, this carbon is sp2, this carbon is sp2. But look at this carbon, this is sp3 carbon. So when this is sp3 carbon, definitely your system is not planar. Okay, I have done a small mistake over here. I have written this compound is aromatic. Actually, this compound is not aromatic. This is a different compound, and this compound is basically non-aromatic compound. Now, what exactly are the non-aromatic compounds? We will discuss it. We will discuss it soon. This compound is non-aromatic because this is not fulfilling one of the conditions which are required to be aromatic. So anything which is not following the aromatic rules are non-aromatic compounds. Okay, so even though it was following the Huckel's rule, it was following the closed conjugation system, it could not follow the planarity rule, and hence this molecule has become non-aromatic. It is different from anti-aromatic. In case of anti-aromatic, I told you every particular condition is same as aromatic. The only difference is there we require 4n pi electrons. 4n pi electrons. This is what required, and here we are not following 4n pi, but the formula here is still 4n plus 2 pi. So basically every rule for aromatic is getting followed except the planarity rule. So any one rule is away from the aromaticity makes the molecule non-aromatic. So non-aromatic compounds are need not to be cyclic. Any kind of structure can be non-aromatic. Anything which doesn't follow the rule of aromaticity or anti-aromaticity is non-aromatic. Okay. Next, look at the look at the sixth compound. Here what we have double bond in conjugation with plus charge in conjugation with double bond, and double bond further in conjugation with the pi electrons. So total number of pi electrons what we have is 6 pi electrons. This lone pair will be delocalized lone pair because it will participate in the resonance because it is in conjugation with the double bond. Every carbon as well as nitrogen is sp2 hybridized, hence it follows the planarity rule. Whether this compound is aromatic or not, yes, it is. It is aromatic because there is closed conjugation, 6 pi electrons, and it is planar. Now let's quickly go through the anti-aromatic examples also. We have understood what are anti-aromatic compounds, and now we will just quickly brush up. So I told you everything will be same as aromatic except the number of electrons. So here it should be cyclic, planar, closed conjugation, and 4n pi electrons. So here this pi bond is in conjugation with this pi bond. This is close conjugation. Every carbon is sp2 hybridized. Number of pi electrons are 4 pi electrons, hence it is anti-aromatic. Look at this. This pi bond is in conjugation with this negative charge. So resonance throughout in the molecule. It is cyclic, it is planar. Number of electrons are 4 pi electrons, and hence it is anti-aromatic. Exactly same way, look at the third one. I have a pi bond here, pi bond here, pi bond here. All these are in conjugation, and these pi bonds are in conjugation with the negative charge. So basically 8 pi electrons are in conjugation with each other. All the carbons are planar and all are in closed conjugation, but it doesn't follow the 4n plus 2 pi rule, but follow 4n pi electrons rule, and hence this is anti-aromatic. Okay. I'll go to the fifth one first and then I'll come to fourth one. So in case of fifth one, look at it. Again, I have a double bond here in conjugation with double bond, and these double bonds are in conjugation with plus charge. Closed conjugation, planar, and number of pi electrons present are 4 pi electrons, hence this molecule is anti-aromatic. I have taken another example, the fourth one, where I have taken a little different kind of structure. Here this is oxygen attached over here. So I'm gonna do these compounds in much more detail, and there are a lot of examples we're gonna discuss. So if you get any such compound where you have a double bond outside and there is some atom present outside, what do you basically do? You basically shift the electron density towards the more electronegative atom. So we have shifted this pi bond, we have broken the bond towards the more electronegative atom, that is oxygen. So if we'll do so, what will happen is oxygen will get a negative charge, whereas the carbon will get a positive charge, and there is the pi bonds over here. We have to check the aromaticity for the cyclic chain only. So what oxygen is getting, we are least bothered about it. We are just bothered about this cyclic chain. And the cyclic chain's nature will decide whether the compound is aromatic or non-aromatic or anti-aromatic. So here we have double bonds in conjugation with each other and in conjugation with the plus charge also. Total number of pi electrons what we have are 4 pi electrons, right? So planarity is there, closed conjugation is there, but the number of pi electrons are 4 pi electron, and hence makes this molecule anti-aromatic. So anti-aromaticity of this molecule will be decided by the nature of your cyclic chain. And how will you decide it? You will break the pi bond which is present between the cyclic ring and the another atom. You will shift the electron density towards the more electronegative atom, and according to that, whatever you will get in the cycle, you will decide on the basis of that whether the compound is aromatic or anti-aromatic or non-aromatic. Now I'll tell you in detail what is non-aromatic compounds. As I mentioned earlier also, any compound which is not fulfilling even one condition of aromaticity is non-aromatic. And non-aromatic compounds can be of any type, can be non-planar, can be straight chains, can be non-cyclic chains. So any condition which is there for aromaticity is not getting fulfilled will make the compound non-aromatic. In fact, which is not fulfilling for anti-aromatic compounds also is basically put the molecule into the third category, that is non-aromatic compounds. So let's see some examples over here. The first example which I have taken is this cyclic chain with a double bond. Here you see this carbon is sp2, this carbon is sp2, but the third carbon is sp3. It is cyclic. It doesn't have conjugation with any other thing. And secondly, the carbon is sp3, hence no conjugation. The number of pi electrons are, even though number of pi electrons are 2 pi electrons, and it is following the Huckel's rule of 4n plus 2 pi electron thing, but still this molecule will be non-aromatic because there is no conjugation, no planarity. Exactly same way, look at the second compound. The carbon here present at the bottom is sp3, hence it is not planar. Even though the number of electrons are the same as what is required for a compound to be aromatic, this sp3 carbon will make this non-aromatic. Look at the third one. In case of third one, first of all, we have a double bond here in conjugation with the radical, but this is single electron, right? So total number of pi electrons what we have is 3 pi electrons, hence it is not following the aromaticity rule. The molecule becomes non-aromatic. Now again the last one, look at the fourth one. Here also the same condition, you have double bonds which are alternate to each other, and then the fifth carbon is sp3, makes it non-planar and hence non-aromatic. Okay, even though it is following the 4 pi electron rule or 4n pi electron, we still cannot call it anti-aromatic, because for anti-aromatic your molecule should be planar, and this is not planar. So here we have understood the details of aromatic, non-aromatic and anti-aromatic compounds. We will go in a little more detail about few more compounds, and the compounds like azulene, what is aromaticity over there, how to decide whether a compound is aromatic or not in those kind of cases, which are little trickier molecules, in the next class. Here this is just a basic introduction of aromaticity, non-aromaticity and anti-aromaticity. Next class we'll go a little more deeper and we'll see what kind of different questions can be asked from this part, and what are different molecules they can give you to figure out their aromaticity or anti-aromaticity, or to determine what kind of nature this a particular molecule exhibit. So aromaticity we'll finish off in the next class by covering up the type of questions can be asked from there, and the little trickier questions, little complicated compounds, and getting into detail of it and figuring out their nature in terms of aromatic, non-aromatic and anti-aromatic.